Diplomat, as you may not know, is on the train currently as the Ghost of Christmas Past car. That was quite an adventure. Nathaniel and I made our way down to Virginia, as you guys know, in August and brought this car back. And since the end of August until, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, which would be, late before Thanksgiving, actually, before Black Friday, we transformed this car into, a rideable coach for passengers and give them a different kind of experience within decorating that Becker home did for us. So a lot of undercarriage work as far as the brake controls are concerned. We did do some metal work to the exterior, to the back platform, to the roof, to the windows. We did enough that we could just to make it safe for everybody. And then we did transform the inside. Luckily, the inside was a pretty much bare canvas for us, and we just did a few changes in there to make it comfortable for passengers. So once we're done with this after Christmas, we're going to start tearing this thing apart again. So all the stuff that's in the inside, we'll be taking out again. We'll be emptying it out. The entire floor of the car needs to be ripped out. There's probably, I think, 2 floors in there, and one of them is a layer of concrete, then a layer of framing, and then insulation underneath that. So all the concrete is breaking up. It needs to be repaired, and we've done this on 3 other cars already. So we jackhammer the concrete up, we tear out all the wood framing, and then we start from scratch. So once all that's out of there, you actually can see the floor pan of the car, which you're going to be able to see the metal, what's rusted, what do you have to replace. For instance, in the cafe car, we had to replace probably half the floor worth of sheeting, steel sheeting. So that's a lot of work there, and labor intensive as well. So, but you have to have a good structure for these trains to work. Our next move on it is more exterior work. On these cars, there's an air conditioner bulge on the outside. You can see that on the roof line. All the other cars we have do not have that. We will be eliminating that this spring and summer, and getting to look as far as our other cars do as well. So that's a lot of steel work that we'll have to be doing. Basically, you're taking from the top of the roof to the side sheet there, and you're pulling the sheeting off first. So that means you're breaking off all the rivets, whether you're grinding them off, burning them off, whatever, and you're removing that sheet work. And then you're getting back to the same level of clerestory as you can see on the other cars. You'll be basically putting all the new framing and sheet work. Now, there is original framing under that, so it just depends on what the condition is once you pull that off of there. So that's a major project as far as metal fabrication is concerned. Well, the deck is actually all almost redone. The railings, the floor plating, a lot of the framing was all restructured. A lot of rot and rust at the bottom ends of that. And then the top end of it, if you look at the back end, we did more of an arch style on the back, which was how they originally looked. And this one was just, I don't know, I would like to say pieced together, into a certain style, but we wanted to take it back to original, and we did. So the arch on the back, and then you have some arches on the side, which are really beautiful. And then up in the inside, we placed a dome that we had from a previous car we were thinking of using, but we actually use it in this one. It's all backlit by LEDs, so it's beautiful. It's beautiful just looking at it in the daylight, but in the dark, it's really cool looking. For it to fit in as far as looks on the outside, it would be the roof bulge. It'd be finishing the windows. Now, the windows are in fabrication phase right now. So the first full build I did, I mean, we pieced some cars together in the beginning when we started this whole venture, but after pulling off the parlor car, I guess 5 years ago, you kind of get a sense of what you have to go do and what direction you're going to go. It's just like, any other trade or anything like that. Once you start doing it and start being able to identify the problems and what you have to do to rectify them, it's actually fun, And the other cool thing is every car is a little different, so as far as design, and there's sometimes sleepers, there's baggage cars, there's coach cars, so it's fun. Okay, this is 1927 Beaver by Pullman, of course. That's all we have here is Pullman cars, of course. We brought it in here, I guess, a little over 2 years ago. Brought it in for preservation purposes, to redo it, of course. It's an actual sleeper car. It's got sleeper bunks in it that are still intact in there. It actually had some original mattresses, box springs, all kinds of nasty stuff in it when we got it. As preservationists, again, you know, right now we're in the process of boarding it up, making sure the roof is secure, and making sure that when we're ready to get to this car, that it's going to be in as best shape as possible, that we can do it. So I think bodywork wise, it's in pretty good condition. I'm not sure the floor again. We are going to have to rip this floor out as well, just like the Diplomat. The floor is cracking, it's disintegrating and everything else, and it'll have the same sheet pan underneath it. So that's where we're really going to see what kind of work we'd have to do structurally. The other structural items, it's in actually pretty decent shape. We did some roof repairs that we needed to do. It's a steel roof. We'll put a roof coating on that, and then that'll preserve it, you know, until we're ready to get into it. But over the winter, I think we do plan on starting to knock this floor out. It gets cold during the winter. We don't have a shop yet, so we'll be in there with some heaters, and we're going to start knocking this floor out over the winter for sure. From my understanding, the intent is to take it back to a sleeper car. We don't have one here. It's very cool. As you know, you'll see when you get inside, the bunks actually pull out of the ceiling. There's some tables, there's some open seating in there, there's a kitchen area. So it's really an awesome car. It kind of takes you back, and it's totally different than anything else we have here. So I think that was one of the reasons to bring it in, not just to have something different, but to also preserve it. Okay, so as you enter the car, this would be, you know, your basic seating area, just regular seating. As you can see, the floor is shot again, you know. In every car you have a pin that goes through the coach into the trucks. Some of them were just compression fit, some of them were screw fit. So basic common area seating here. There was a bathroom here around the right side. I don't think you would want to go in there now. Okay, so as you can see, the interior is totally metal again, like a lot of our other cars that we've been getting recently. So a lot of probably sandblasting work inside here. It's probably the best way to take off the rust and the paint to get it back to original. Various spots you'll see there's jagged metal up along the roof here. This is where there was a divider wall at one point. So you'll see that in a lot of the cars that we get, you know. People that got them in the past want to do something different with them, so they just torch out a wall. So depending on what we want to do, we might put that back in. So we're not sure yet. So it would be cut out because basically before here, there was a wall, and you can see the domed hallway here. So it would create a passageway. So this would, they probably opened this up for seating, or this might be a kitchenette, you know, the style of the floor. You know, you can probably tell it was probably used as a kitchen at one point. So that's why some people wanted a more open space car, that where this might have came from before, they might have just cut it out. With the metal, you can see all the shades, the shade covers. There's actually some shades here still left in here. All the shade covers are actual turned metal here. It's really cool. So this was like a cafe seating area, you know, and you'll see this throughout. You'll see more cafe seating areas, but you'll also go, as we walk down through, you're going to be able to see where the bunks were as well. Why they call this a sleeper car as well. Another bathroom space here. And then you would walk into another seating area, plain bench seatings right through here. And then once you get past this point is where you go in and you start to see the pull down sleeper units. Like I said before, there's original cushions and mattresses in here at one point. I don't know if I can get this one down. As you can see, you pull down. It's very easy. And there's your sleeping bunk. And actually, if you look on the back side here, it's got some old signage. To get in or out of your upper berth, please use the ladder. Ring the bell and ask the porter for it. So, all original. You can see there's a mirror over on that side over there as well. Old bird's nest, some rat coupe. But you can see all the mechanisms are original as well, which is really cool. Chains and some pulleys. So this is how they did it back in the day when they sleep. So I would say that this is probably a less than 6 foot bunk. So I would not be comfortable sleeping in there, that's for sure. Okay, so now you're looking up here. So when the bunks are folded up, well, then you had a place to hang your clothes. So here's some original hangers here. They're hung on here by straps. Canvas. These are actually original wood hangers with metal on them, which is really cool.
You never know what you're going to find in these things.
You never do. So basically, I think if you were on this train, you would get your seating below, and then you would get the bunk up top. I believe so. Nathaniel would be able to tell you that the true story on that. I'm not the historian here. I'm the construction and recreator here, basically. So
cool.
Really neat. So to recreate any of that in metal is astronomically expensive. It's such a lost art form. So I guess when Pullman was processing these cars, they would have a stamp and they would have a setup to be able to create all these things. And you know, they were doing it in a production style, but to recreate it, it's very labor intensive. Luckily, a lot of this is in good shape, especially in the ceiling. You can see the crown moldings. You can see the little detail molding on there as well. It's all imprinted metal.
And it's all through the train.
All through the train. It's beautiful. Basically, you have the same thing all the way through here. I'm not quite sure of the window style that we're going to be going with here. The bunks actually, you know, give you some limitations as far as what you can do. We like to do transom stained glass in most of our stuff, but with the style, how the bunks are, we have to really dig into that and see if we can raise the elevation of the windows. You can see where all the old sconce lights were. We do have a few of these we put in storage that were original. But they're really neat too, some real wiring. You can see actually the horsehair insulation that's in the walls originally. There's a lot of horses in this car. So, again, this is the other end of the car. So, in the original Pullman sleeper layout I was looking at, one end was usually kitchenette, one end was usually, you know, common seating. It looks like what they did in here was, this was originally the kitchenette. I'm not sure what they did in here before, but if you look on the floor, you can actually see the outlines of the original walls, where they would have been. And then you can look up top, and you'll see the radius wall where it used to be before, and where they torched it out. But somebody had a plan of putting some kind of common seating or open space in here originally. But if we take it back to original, we'll probably put these walls right back in. It'd be really neat. And then a couple storage closets, and actually there was a toilet in there at one time too. It definitely is a donor opportunity, and you know, we have, as you'll see later, I'm going to show you the Lynnewood, but we have 3 cars that are ready to go under construction here. So, and we have some rehabs and the other stuff we need to do as well. So, the Lynnewood, we've been doing a lot of work to that recently. Our number one goal is to make it weather tight, to preserve all the woodwork that is still original inside. There's woodwork, there's brass, there's mirrors, there's light fixtures that luckily have made it through all these years. Okay, this is the Lynnewood, brought here by Scott and Susan Bentley from 1927. Mostly all original interior with some modifications. Modifications again would be the air conditioning system, and you're going to see this throughout. The modifications came in up in the ceilings. You'll see that we're in the process now of ripping out the old air conditioning units, and you'll see on the sides here where the old Claire story was. Now we have a huge challenge against this now because there's tons of spray foam just sprayed in there to insulate the air conditioning system. So for us to take it back to the original and do our stained glass Claire story again, we have a lot of construction just to get the ceiling back in shape. So the original roof is up, the ceiling is up there, but we're in the process of finding it right now. The windows again were modified. You'll see over here. These are more 50s, 60s style sealed windows that were just put in with aluminum frames. You can see by this oak board up here that this basically right here is where the original stained glass transom windows would be. So our intention is to take those back to original as far as transom windows and full-size wooden windows as well. The nice thing about this car, it's got a beautiful white oak interior. There is some water damage throughout the car that we're going to be working on, this year as well. The floor, again, this floor is in better shape. If you do look down here, I can show you some examples here. So this here is the original steel plate floor. This goes all throughout. Underneath you have a layer of wood, framed wood with horsehair insulation. You can see all the hair here. And then a lot of them had a concrete layer on top of that. That helped for weight to help balance the car as well. So the original floor here with the concrete, over the years there was another floor added to the top of that, and then another 3/4 floor added to the top of that. So we're probably about 2 to 3 inches above our original height here. So we're not sure how we're going to handle removing this floor and what we're going to do to fix it yet, because as you look around the perimeters, you can see that there is heating already in. So to get all the old floor out, we would have to remove a lot of this woodwork, and we really don't want to do that. So I'm looking at some options now as far as how we're going to handle repairing the floor. It's not in bad shape all throughout. It needs some repair. So these do have some original working shades. Some brass fixtures here. They actually lock into positions into the side here, which is really cool. So that's an awesome part of it. We have some fixtures here that we have to fix up, but they're all brass. We'll probably refinish those. Get some new globes for them as well. So all throughout the car, you'll see brass. And this is one of the brass accents that you'll see here. It's all full 100% brass. You'll see some of those accents out throughout the car. You'll see them on the radiator covers. You'll see them on hinges. You'll see them on shades. Okay, so in this car we have a lot of separated rooms, private rooms. And as you see, you'll enter in here. You'll look up into the ceiling. We are doing more of the HVAC work, and we're trying to remove all of that because it's not original. And you'll also see sleeper bunks. So each car did, here's some more brass. Each car did have its own commode, flip top, wooden seat. As you can see there, you can even see the cut and the angles that they put on the seat to make it work. Pretty neat, right? Little medicine cabinet. Many details throughout with brass. And if you look on the doors as well, you see original labeling. Room A. Again, it's got the pull down bunks in it. Your own mirror, toilet in the corner, and every one of these had a little dresser with it. These are original right here, and we started recreating them. Some of the drawers were missing, so we're in the process of recreating some of them, but they're all full dovetail, all solid, beautiful pieces of work here, the drawers. And if anybody knows woodworking with today's machinery, how hard it is to make dovetails and pull this type of work off, well, there's no type of that tooling back when these were made. So this car did have a common bathroom, and that's what you'll see through this door here. This is a beautiful arched door, original with a mirror. And before we got to it, they started renovating it out. So there's nothing really original in it anymore. but we do have plans in the future to put it back in service. So a lot of these in the rooms too had their own little closet, you know, a little wardrobe, all solid wood, no laminates, no no pressboard in this place, that's for sure. As far as the top of this, you can see the fabric that they used on the top of this and then covered it with glass. So basically this was like a dining area here. As you see, you have your glass hutch, would hold all your dishes. You know, an open space here. We probably have a table and chairs in here. And in this room here, you can really see what the original clerestory did look like. We did start chopping away at this spray foam insulation. And we are getting down to some original stuff here. So this is basically what we're shooting for throughout the whole car. You'll see at the ends here as well, there's dividers between each room as well. We might want to take that out and have an open concept all the way through. We're not sure yet. But this is like the main goal we're looking at. Now, the top ceiling you can see is sagging, so that middle sheet will have to be replaced. So this car definitely needs roof repair. It probably will need almost a 75 to 80% roof replacement. As you can see on this wall here, coming down the clerestory and down around the side of the roof, we do have a lot of water damage on this side of the car. And a lot of water damage because of the old windows as well. These are original. They actually have a storm window outside of the original window here, which is very awesome. It's like our lounge car. Same thing with the transom windows. It has an inner and outer window. But as you'll see when we shoot outside, all of these windows on the outside need replaced. That's one of the major issues that we're having with this car. So our goal for 2022 is, with the help of B&W fabricators, do some roof replacement work. And then our team actually is going to start later this week on ripping out a couple of these windows and getting a plan together on how we're going to replace them. This one's a little different than what we usually do, because usually, as you see in the other cars, we're ripping everything out of the inside. And we have kind of a clean slate inside. So the trick here is being able to preserve the interior woodwork while replacing the windows on the outside. Because there is going to have to be some welding, and there's going to have to be some fabrication involved with metalwork. And anybody that knows anything about that, heat and wood do not mix very well. So it should be a nice challenge for us. Okay, so this is the ugliest part of the car. It is not original, as you can see. It looks like these cabinets were, I guess, the doors at least from Home Depot, it looks like, with your, you know, popular builder brass hardware. So, yeah, it's definitely not original, but we are going to do our best to take it back to somewhat original. So this was your kitchen area, you know, where you had your refrigerator, you did all your cooking, and then a supply closet in here. I think this was the porter's room as well. I would think there would probably be a bunk in here, maybe a toilet. And there's also some electrical boxes as well.
Yeah, this isn't claustrophobic.
No? There's the back side of your utility cabinet. This is where all your power would be, your breakers, everything like that. Basically, this is where the porter would hang out and have the supplies as well. So in the back, straight ahead, that was the room where the hot water heat and the boiler would have been. That would pump the water through the baseboard heating. One was probably a bathroom, and one was basically a conductor's closet. Electrical work, you know, where the conductor would be if he needed to be in this car. Some work that we had done this past summer is we have a back viewing deck here, which is an awesome feature on some of these coaches. So we originally had some brass railing, had some steel posts, but mostly all brass railing. That is actually out at the shop right now getting refinished. Everything on this back deck was rotted. All this diamond plate on top is brand new. There's new structural steel underneath to help support this. New buffer plate on the back as well. We do have some work in spring of 2022 to come back out here and finish this up. But this will be an awesome viewing deck that you see on, many of your historic photos and presents and stuff like that. So, okay, so as we talked about earlier, the windows are a huge issue for this car, and for us to seal it up and preserve it to its best ability, we have a lot of window work. So when we first entered the car on our tour inside, I did mention that these aren't original windows here. And you can see from the top of the window to the top where the rivets are, were originally where the stained glass was before. So as you work your way down the car, you will see some of the original windows are still intact. And you can see the amount of damage that has happened over the years, and this is going to be our main focal point here coming up over the winter to try to rectify this issue. Now they do have storm windows on the outside and windows on the inside, so it has preserved some of the woodwork inside, but the longer we wait, the worse the conditions are going to get. So over the next week or two, we're going to put this over on our work siding, and we're going to start taking one window out at a time here and exploring on our best options to recreate these and restore it. So along with the windows, like I said earlier, the roof is a major issue. Now this is a steel roof, but you can see someone had put shingles on top of it, which, probably did save some life for it and everything, but over time they just have failed too, the glue on them and everything else. So we'll be ripping those off in the spring and doing some roof work as well. So throughout this tour, you've seen the amount of work that we do every year here, and more than ever, we're in need of restoration volunteers. All skills, all trades, anything that you can come in and help us out with, we would really appreciate. I'm also looking for contractors to help us in the year 2022. Cabinet makers, carpenters, framing, anybody that's useful and handy in the wood trade would definitely be a help to us. So you can contact me at josh@colebrookdalerailroad.com. As far as cars going into service next year, I'd say the closest to being happening for that would be the Diplomat. Like I said before, it's got mostly a clean slate inside. Depending on what design we want to go with and what other projects we take on, that would be the closest. My intention is to never take that car kind of out of service. I want to continue working on it, but I want to be able to flip it and transform it in a couple weeks to be able to put passengers in it, if that makes sense, because I think we can do that with the kind of work we're going to try to do on it, because it's already a nice open car inside. So since this is the parlor car, this was done 4 or 5 years ago. This was done with a lot of volunteer labor. I actually spearheaded this project. This was the last hands-on project as far as almost every piece worked on myself, and I worked with a guy named Tom Hendricks, and he has passed on, but he was the most dedicated volunteer that we've had here. He would come every day from 9 to 3:30 on his own time, never asked for a dime. He was just an old cabinet maker that wanted something to do, and we worked together for many years. This project here took us about a year, top to bottom. Being where we're at in 2021, a lot of contractor work is needed now. The volunteer, a lot of people have come and gone, and just like in anything, I'm a firefighter as well. It's hard to find volunteers on a regular basis anymore. Life seems to be so busy right now, so even though we've come through a pandemic, life just seems to always be busy. So my goal now on these cars moving forward is being able to get the best prices, materials, having contractors come in here and look and finding the right person that you can work with. Because what we do here is not like building a house. It's not like trimming out a house or hanging a door or something like that. This is 100% custom.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Bill Hogan. I am the owner of the Colebrookdale Train Stop. We're adjacent to the Colebrookdale Railroad. Now it's Christmas season, and there's no Christmas tree unless you have a train underneath your Christmas tree. So, like to see everybody come out, check out the store, see what's going on. Every week is something new. We get a lot of customers that come in, all right, and it would be the first time doing a layout or first time ever experiencing with the new trains that they have out now, all right, with the sound, the bells, the whistles, everything. And they would like to try to get a little layout together. So what we do is we try to give them an idea of what a layout should be like and see how they feel about it, and then we'll take the next week and try to get something together for them that they could take home and set up for themselves. Okay, we'd like to everybody know that we do service work on trains, all right, from your passenger cars to engines to box cars and everything, and that would be N scale, HO, O gauge, all right, and O gauge we do MTH and Lionel. All right, with the HO, we have DCS and DC services. All right, so stop on down. If it's broke or if it's old, do not put it on the track until you have it serviced.